One of the common misconceptions about bankruptcy is that people will have to liquidate or lose everything. It has to be turned over to creditors, and you start over with nothing. Although bankruptcy is a federal law, it's somewhat uniform throughout the United States. One of the things that the bankruptcy code allows is that each individual state can determine what assets are protected and can be kept by people who go through the process in order for them to have a financial basis to start their lives over again. California has opted to provide rules that allow people to protect assets in bankruptcy, and is really pretty generous, actually. Um, One of the big questions is, am I going to lose my home in bankruptcy? It's very rare. The amount of equity that a person is allowed to have in their home is now a moving target. It used to be a fixed dollar amount statewide, but in the last couple of years, the law was changed so that it becomes regionally specific and is based upon a median value of a home in the area where a person lives. And is based upon family size and is now adjusted for inflation. Generally speaking, for the area, Northern California, Sacramento region, and mountain foothill region, the amount of equity that a person is allowed to keep while going through bankruptcy in their home is several $100,000. And so with the recent market increases in the real estate, we're still seeing cases where the amount of equity people have generally is well below the limit, so it's not a problem in keeping homes. One of the things to consider, however, is that when there is a mortgage on a property, a mortgage still has to be paid even in bankruptcy. A lender can foreclose on a property if they're not paid. Bankruptcy can allow people to perhaps in some cases modify that mortgage, particularly if it's a junior mortgage like a second loan, or catch up on payments that are behind if they need more time to do that so that the property is protected from a foreclosure. Other assets that are protected, retirement plans, personal property. Generally speaking, equity in vehicles are not an issue or problem. I would say, in my estimation, of the hundreds, if not thousands of cases that I've done, probably less than 1 or 2% of those cases were assets actually at risk of being lost or forfeited in any chapter of bankruptcy. One of the interesting things that people don't understand about asset protection in bankruptcy is that if a person talks to me about a debt crisis and whether or not bankruptcy is an appropriate remedy, part of my legal responsibility as a practitioner is to identify whether or not there is an asset at risk. And if there is something like that going on, is there a legal and ethical way to shelter or protect that asset before a bankruptcy case is filed to ensure that it is not liquidated or lost to a bankruptcy creditor? Just like tax planning. When you go to a tax advisor, there are legal ways to minimize tax liabilities, and as long as it's done in the confines of the law, there's nothing wrong with that. Same is exactly true in bankruptcy. As long as the planning that we do before a case is filed is in compliance with the rules, we're absolutely entitled to take advantage of those strategies in order to protect assets. It's not always available. It can't be done in every single case, but it can be done in many cases. Over the years that I've done this, I've talked with people who maybe come in for a second opinion and have been told, you shouldn't file because you're going to lose your home. You shouldn't file because you're going to lose whatever. And it's just absolutely incorrect advice, because either the advice is wrong up front or the advice is wrong because the advisor that they talked to really didn't consider alternative strategies in terms of how those things can be protected. So it's really important to look at what is the best scenario. Is a Chapter 7 the best? Is a Chapter 13 the best? Can I file 7? Because there are qualifications to do that. What's the end result in either case? Maybe is it better that I let an asset go? Sometimes simply things are not affordable and we really shouldn't hang on to them. Maybe it's better to not file bankruptcy at all. Maybe I should liquidate something and just simply use the proceeds to pay off the debts rather than go through the court process of doing it. The goal is how do we get the crisis resolved in the best way possible, using the resources of the court or using other resources that are available to us, but looking at everything in the big picture. And as a practitioner, basically making sure that all the options are laid out for a client, pros, cons. Every decision is going to have a good and a bad, and how do we weigh that? And then my job is to advise, this is what I think we should do, but the choice is yours, and so you need to do what's best for you and your family.